Hi and welcome. I'm Rosemary Jean Thompson, and this is UBC's Next Big Thing. My guest today is Dr. Hugo De Burgos. He is an assistant professor of medical anthropology. Actually, say your name for me in Spanish.
Hugo De Burgos.
It sounds so much better than the way I said it.
But you said it well too.
Oh, thanks. Hey, welcome today. And what exactly is medical anthropology?
Medical anthropology is the study of health, illness, and healing within the context of culture and society.
So in simplest forms, what does that look like?
We study the way in which people in every culture and society create strategies or use practices and belief to do two things in particular. One is to promote health, and the other to alleviate illness and disease.
Here in our community, what would be a good example?
As we speak, I'm working on a research project here in the community in the Okanagan Valley, studying medical pluralism. And let me explain what we mean by that. In the same fashion that pain and suffering is a ubiquitous feature of being a human, so are the multiple ways in which people create strategies to promote health and alleviate pain and disease. And in that process, medical systems are created. But because medical systems exist within the context of culture, different cultures will produce different medical systems. And in the Okanagan Valley, the research focuses on what in medical anthropology is called medical pluralism. And it's the idea that multiple medical traditions converge or coexist in a common effort to bring health and to alleviate illness and disease.
So would an example be, I would go to my physician because I maybe am not feeling well, and he might prescribe something, but at the same time I might go to a naturopath or to a spiritual leader and say, here's what I'm suffering from. What other ways can we deal with the problem?
Exactly, and this is why we emphasize the centrality of belief. And in medical anthropology, we claim that disease can only be understood through a relationship between biology, social practices, and culturally constituted frames of meaning. And the reason being is because being healthy or being sick are not given conditions as most people would assume. From the perspective of biomedicine, which is our official national health care, if you will, system, from that perspective, we have a particular way of understanding health and illness. But from an anthropological perspective, we have to be willing to step out of those cultural conventions and explore or embrace other ways of experiencing health and illness. If you go to see a physician, it's because within your own culture, your beliefs are in accordance to those medical practices. But people who are from different cultures, they seek medical help in accordance to their own cultural belief.
So in your documentary, what are you finding? What are you discovering? Because this is you're building this video, but it's part of your research.
I'm discovering that every day hundreds of people in this valley consciously seek the medical help of non-biomedical physicians. People go to see a Reiki master. People go to see a healing touch healer. People go to see someone who heals with crystals and so on and so forth. All these traditions are outside the positivistic model. And what we mean by the positivistic model is that the material world can be explained only in terms of material processes. But many aspects of the human experience cannot be quantified in the same fashion that we quantified material aspects of the self. So they are caring more about the spirit, the emotional aspects of the self, which provide them with the cultural tools that they require to feel health and to alleviate illness and disease from their own perspectives, as opposed to from the perspective of a physician.
So it's a holistic approach.
Precisely.
To
They refer to it as a holistic approach because it brings into the healing experience not only the body, which is central, of course, but also aspects that are built or culturally constructed around the body, such as ideas of a spirit, or the soul, or emotional life, and so on and so forth.
Where do you think this is leading? What's the next big thing through some of this video production you're doing, research that you're doing in medical anthropology? What are we going to see next?
Something that I'm finding is that these healers make an incredible contribution to keeping our society healthier, more holistic, but even happier. And I am currently also working on what's referred to as post-traumatic growth, as opposed to post-traumatic stress disorder.
So what is that?
It's how people in the face of trauma, instead of succumbing to an illness, thrive and become better humans. There's a lot of studies in psychology about this, but very few in anthropology. And my task is to look at the particular cultural conditions that allow humans to grow in the face of trauma.
Well, that's kind of promising, really, because you can either, it's kind of the half full, half empty cup syndrome, in that when you come across an event in your life, or like you said, something traumatic, taking a different approach to the healing process can actually be a growing experience for you.
You are absolutely right, precisely because whether the cup is half empty or half full will depend not only on perception, but how we interpret that perception, what we believe to be the reality that we're perceiving. We know now that no human has immediate cognition of the world, but they have to mediate what they see, what they perceive through belief. And belief are the building blocks of cultures.
Interesting, really good. So what I'm hearing today, Anna, is belief plays a big role in the healing process.
By all means.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming and spending time with us today. That wraps it up for this edition. Until next time, I'm Rosemary Jean Thompson.